Welcome to another episode of the Gap Down Backer podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have Coach Sean Coultis with us today. He is the head football coach at Evansville Central in Indiana. They made a pretty good run this year in 4A football. My research is correct. They went 12-1. I believe rushed for over a little correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, 4,900 yards, correct?
Yeah, well over 4,000. I know we were over 4,000.
Awesome, Coach. I've done that once in 10 years, and that's always a fun experience when you can kind of just, run it at will. But for coaches who don't know you or haven't had a chance to talk to you, you want to kind of give a quick background on how you ended up at Evansville Central?
Sure. I was a defensive coordinator in Illinois at a school called Bolingbrook High School. It's an 8A school, which is the largest in Illinois. I was there for a while, and then, had a great head coach. He's about my age. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. So, I always want to be a head football coach. And I went to IU. So, when I started applying for head coaching jobs, I was kind of familiar with Southern Indiana and, found my way down here to Evansville to take a head coaching job. So I was D coordinator in Illinois, and now I'm here at Evansville Central. And like I said, I've been here for 2 years now, and we had a nice little run this year.
And so I don't just ignore Coach Derry. Coach Derry, how you doing?
Oh, I'm great, man. I've been working out with the head coach every day for the last 3 weeks after school, so I'm really sore today, man. We did front squat.
Yeah, how was your little front squat combo today?
They were different. my whole body's numb. Let's just put it that way. I don't have no feeling.
All right. Well, Coach, I kind of want to go back to you said you were DC for a while.
Yes, sir.
How did you then come to the wing T?
Sure.
What was that kind of natural progression look like?
I think it's something where I'd always say, okay, when I'm going to be a head coach, what do I want to do? I think it's just, something that I've always believed in, especially with more and more people going spread. That's old Bill Belichick thing. Like he if everybody, I know he was a 3-4 guy with the Giants, and then everybody in the NFL switched to the 3-4. Well, then he went to the 4-3 because he wanted to be the only guy running it. He's always kind of on the cutting edge. I know Bill Belichick was, running all that empty spread stuff with Brady. Then everybody in the NFL started doing it. A couple of years ago, they won the Super Bowl running double tight eye formation. So he's kind of always going against the trends with everybody going spread. I think wing T is unbelievable. It's hard to prepare for. Even if the other coach thinks he knows how to stop it, he's got 3 days to teach a bunch of high school kids how to stop it, and you're probably the only one on their schedule running it. I think it lends itself well, especially up. I know you guys are in Ohio. I'm from Illinois. I'm coaching Indiana. When it's cold, that's an offense. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's snowing or windy or whatever the heck it is. I think it's something that can function. Also, you're not dependent on anything. If you're going to say, I'm going to run a spread, okay, do you have a dual threat quarterback? Do you have a tailback that's unbelievable? Do you have a bunch of receivers? Do you have an offensive line that can keep your quarterback upright? Wing T, it makes an average offensive line look good, even if they're undersized. If your quarterback can throw it or run it, good, you can feature that. If not, you're fine. You're not relying on having a great running back. You just need 3 good ones. A lot of the blocking is predicated on the faking and things like that. So I just think from year to year, it's a system, that not only nobody runs, but something you can run year in and year out, and you're not reliant on anything. And if there's bad weather, you're still going to be able to function. So I just think it's a perfect high school system that I truly believe in.
Yeah, and I think it goes hand in hand on defense too, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Everyone wants to play dominant defense, but you kind of. I can't use how many times that I played. I'm a defensive coordinator myself, and teams go that up tempo stuff, and they go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. They can't get the rhythm.
Yeah.
It kind of. If you want to build something with long-term success, I can't imagine a better offense than the wing T. And someone said, if you get better athletes, okay, maybe you can kind of space it out a little bit and still run this stuff. That's even better, right? If you can run jet sweep with a 5-3 guy, and you get a 4-6 guy, that just makes it better.
You'll run it. I'd say it would just be even better. You don't gotta switch to that point.
I've been a big believer, and I think it just goes. So many people try to pick this philosophy is like, all right, we're gonna have an explosive offense in a dominant defense, and they usually just never go hand in hand.
Yeah, well, I think too is if you run the wing T, you're probably bleeding the clock. You're going to be a very low turnover type team. So even if you're not scoring, you're punting the ball. So I mean, it's things like that where it's certainly going to help your defense. But the thing is, I would just say is like it's flexible. Certainly if you have a split end out there that can catch the ball, and he's outstanding out there, well, then you might throw to him more. If you have a quarterback that maybe is an option guy, you can run some belly option or down option. If you don't, well, guess what? You can just run belly sweep or down sweep, and you still got a perimeter play that comes off your belly or down sweep. So I just think it's something where it has answers. It's flexible from year to year, depending on what you got. And it's something, I think it's important. It's like, pick something. All these coaches, they have a losing record. They go to a clinic. All right, we're going to switch to this offense and this defense. Well, then it doesn't work. And then the next year they go to a clinic and they switch again because they never get good at anything and they never understand anything. And by picking a system, not only do I have to know it, my kids have to know it for 4 years. My assistants have to know it. So I think if you stay with the system, now it's like I was thinking about like a kid studying a math test for 4 years. If every year, if I have him study something freshman year and I switch it on him, sophomore year he studies something, I switch it on him. No, like 4 years, that kid's learning the same offense. Now he comes back and it's a review. Same thing with my coaches, like they know it and they can drill it. And so it's not just me that has to know, it's the kids and the assistant coaches. So
well, how many coaches switch an offense after a year? And how do you expect kids to buy into a system if you don't even buy into it? Right? If you can't buy into it for more than a year and you switch to something different, then why would kids buy into you? Right?
It's just, I think so. A lot of coaches do that. I'll tell you right now, a lot of them do it, and the good ones don't. The good ones are known for something, and they have a system that, the thing is, systems have answers. You get in a game and somebody's doing something, you know right now, because you know your system so well, what the answer to the problem is. And that's important.
It's the most, I think, being able to adjust on the fly and having an answer. If you don't know your system well enough, I remember we're playing Stebbins this year, and I'm really struggling trying to stop 10 personnel running game. And it wasn't a permanent fix, but it was just running a front that we really haven't practiced all week because it would have put us 2 guys in the C gap. But I didn't really care. It was the only thing that would work at the time, and we just kind of stopped the bleeding. And maybe I need to do a better job in clinic, coming up with better answers, or maybe finding better drills. And that's stuff that we can address in the off season. But being able to have something built in right away,
right now.
On it. You know what I mean? It may not be a permanent solution, but like, hey, this can be something right now. We stop the bleeding, and maybe we can address it later in the off season. Hey, we just got to drill this better. And you do your off season report that. If they're stopping, if the play side backer is being a son of a gun on Buck, you just got to run trap.
But just having those answers, and I think that the kids see that too. If it ain't working in the game, so your offense isn't working, they know right now. Like you're either panicking or you're calm and you're telling your kids, guys, we're good. They're doing this. Here's what we're gonna do, and all of a sudden it starts working. And the kids believe when you can problem solve on the sideline calmly, communicate that to the kids. Same thing on defense. If they're doing something, I'm always one of those guys. Give me the iPad. Let me see it. All right. You need to know too, is like, all right, is it not working because they're taking it away? Maybe a certain play's not working because they're taking it away with numbers, or maybe it's not working because your kid's not doing what he's supposed to do, bad technique or whatever, so being able to figure out like, all right, is it not working because they're just taking it away and we need to do something else? Or again, is it the kid? Like it will work if the kid would do what we practice all week and showing them, look, you're supposed to kick out right with your right shoulder and you're not doing it. And whatever it is, something like that. So just being able to, if you understand your system during a game, you can solve problems, which is what I'll tell you what, one of the best things I ever heard at a clinic was 75% of communication from coaches during a game is pointless. It's yelling at referees, yelling at kids, saying stupid stuff like, oh my God, he should have made that tackle. Like that doesn't do anything.
No.
Great coaches in a game figure out what's working and they keep doing it. They figure out what's not working and why, and they solve the problem and they communicate it to their assistant coaches and their players. And that's it. And if you're doing anything other than that, you're not helping your team win. So I thought that was really interesting. It was like, basically the coaches are pointing out that most communication during a game is not helping you win. And it needs to be effective communication problem solving. And then once you solve the problem, communicate it to all stakeholders that can, obviously make that correction to help you win a game.
That is one
You
of the
got
things
that head
that
coaching
drives
job 2
me.
years ago, right?
That's
Excuse me?
You said you got that head coaching job 2 years ago?
Yeah, I've been here for 2 years.
So what were some of the challenges you had teaching the staff? There's in-game adjustments and making sure everything is being effectively communicated so you're able to get it done on the fly.
Sure. I think just kind of understanding like why, kind of troubleshooting it beforehand, like understanding, look, guys, like, these are the most common errors, I would say. These are the things that most people do wrong on the play that are gonna kill it, or defensively. Like these are, so understanding beforehand what those common mistakes are, and that's exactly what you should be practicing. So kind of understanding like, look, where can this thing go wrong? What are those things that if we don't do it right are gonna hurt us? And then be able to pinpoint it on film and say, there it is. He ain't doing it right. Because you're so familiar with the system that right now, like, look, like if we do this wrong, it ain't gonna work. And then it jumps out at you and it slaps you across the face because you understand your system so well. And be able to differentiate between, is it an error in the scheme that we're not doing, or again, are they just taking away buck and we need to run weak? So being able to understand the difference between, is it an error in technique of an assignment, or is it just the other team is just putting so many darn people over there, you need to try something else, and knowing it right now.
Sure.
Well, going back to what you were saying, like one of the things that drives me insane anytime I hear a coach say it is, you have to win that. Like that just comment after a kid doesn't, like, you're not correcting technique, you're not doing anything specific. Yeah, it's like you telling a kid he has to win it has no factor on helping him at all. Like, okay,
that's like a youth football parent yelling, tackle him.
Yeah,
well,
like
first 11 guys are trying to tackle a guy with the ball. You need to say right now, like, okay, you didn't break down on your tackle, or maybe you were looking at his head and got faked out by his head instead of looking at his waist, or some type of technique with tackling.
Hand placement,
maybe
foot placement.
Looking at the force man, and you need to aim at his outside hip. And I don't care that you missed that tackle, but God darn it, you can't let the ball outside of you because there's nobody out there. So, it's just being real specific about your tackling, the technique, or maybe, he was supposed to be inside out, or he's supposed to be outside in, or whatever the heck it is. Being real specific with scheme or technique.
Well, and that's important because it's positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
It's not stating the obvious.
Yeah.
We had an issue. We had an issue. I mean, we had a play where number 3 ran like a 10-yard cross, and number 2 would run a post out of trips. And my free safety kept running with the little 10, 12-yard crosser, and they kept throwing the post behind them. They were incomplete 2 times, and the third one they scored a touchdown on.
Yeah.
And, just I could easily just said, like, hey, Tony,
on the first window, or, don't wait till the touchdown occurs. Like, hopefully somebody was.
But, like, what's in the time? He kept making we had 2 safeties make the same mistake, and then I put the third one in, and it is what it is. But, like, he came off the field, and I was able to they didn't make the same mistake again. They learned, whatever. Yeah. But then in film, I'm able to say, hey, I understand you got to blow the coverage, but it's teaching football, right? Yeah. It's 3. Why is he trying to cross your face? Because they're trying to run something behind you. Now, we never ran into that issue the rest of the year because you taught them and you learned them instead of, you got deep third, deep middle of the field.
The best analogy I always give kids with that combination is it's like fishing. That quarterback saying, come on, fishy.
Oh, man.
Take the bait, run up and cover that shallow route so we can throw behind you. And if you run up, it's so just, they're trying to get you to take the bait. It's try to tell them there's somebody in front of you, there's somebody behind you. It's same thing with corners on a smash route with a hitch in a corner. They're always trying to run something in front of you to get behind you. That's good defensive coach. They're always, they're trying to run a toss. They can set up a reverse or a halfback pass. And, it's tough to teach kids what their job is and get them to buy into assignment football, but that's defense. Getting those kids to buy into their job and getting them to trust their teammates and do that.
Just making sure it's positive reinforcement. Like you said, man, you're coaching them, right? You're not yelling at them.
Well, the thing is, the kid was trying to make a play. Your free safety wasn't running up to make you mad. He was running up because he was trying to make a play, but he didn't understand how he's hurting the defense. And that's why in practice, maybe you walk through a route, let him come up, and then you blow your whistle and you freeze. All right, look behind you. And now he can see it, or like you said, show him in film. But hopefully, make those mistakes. You know, I always try to troubleshoot in practice because I know what, I think as a coach, go through and evaluate all your offense and defense and see what killed you. And that's exactly what you should be practicing.
Yeah.
Better to learn those mistakes. And I always tell kids, mistakes are great. Just make them in practice,
No doubt, man. No doubt.
I agree, Coach. Now, let's kind of move on to your kind of like wing tee system.
Okay.
Where do you guys start? Like, everybody's a little different on their kind of like, I mean, obviously, buck sweeps most wing tee teams kind of go to, but is that your day one install?
Well, yeah, I would say we're going to install by series just because I think the backfield action is the same. So, you want to, I would say you'd be a fool not to do it that way. So, installing, we might have a whole week of like, all right, this is buck. It's like we're going to have buck sweep installed, fullback trap, your waggle, like, all that's going to be installed in the same thing because it's so easy for the backfield. All right, guys, it's the same action, but now, it should look the same to the defense. But
similar blocking.
He's getting the ball and he's getting the ball. So I think it kind of just teaches the backfield that, look, it's a series and the defense, it should look identical to them. And I think installing it that way truly gets kids to buy into the faking aspect of it. So, like, look, if we're running fullback trap, the dive back and the quarterback, they should think that the quarterback, they should think you're running waggle, and the dive back, they should think you're running buck sweep. So, or if we're running buck sweep, the fullback's faking his, so I think it just gets them to buy in and understand the backfield action. It's a series and the faking. So we'd install it like that. And if we were doing belly, the next week, then all right, we're going to put in belly and belly sweep and tackle trap counter and all that together. And then we would install the passes the same as well. So whatever pass plays we had off of our buck series, we'd be installing the week that we install all the buck stuff. So it's kind of how we do it.
Okay. And then what is your curiosity, what does your kind of practice look like? How do you break the timing up for that?
Sure. So, I mean, I would say we always did team takeoff first. So team takeoff, we put the ball on like the 5-yard line or the 10-yard line, and everybody's sprinting full speed to the end zone. So I think that's great because it really gets kids to buy into the faking aspect. So even if you just put the ball at the 5 and say, look, everybody's sprinting full speed through the end zone. So now you got your quarterback and your fullback and your dive back. They're all carrying out their fakes, not only through the line of scrimmage, but 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. So that's going to get every, buying into the faking aspect. And, okay, you're reviewing everything you've installed. So week 1, okay, you may not do team takeoff because it's all install, but now you come week 2. Well, now you're always going to start off practice by reviewing what you've already done. So now say you get to week 3 and you've installed your buck series and your belly series. Well, now week 3, you can review that. So I just think it's a great way to review what you've already installed. You can carry out your faking full speed through the end zone. I just think it's a great thing. And it starts off practice with energy. Like I want to, after we're done warming up, I want practice to start off like right now with something where, it's going to set the tempo for the rest of practice. So I'm a big believer in team takeoff. Then we'd go to Indy, right? So any type of individual we do, obviously the O-line is working on. Now, I want everybody to be on the same page. So say it's that week 1 that we're going to be installing buck sweep at the end of practice. Well, our offensive line better be working on buck sweep, right? The backfield's working on buck sweep. Like everybody's working on buck sweep. So when we come together at the end of practice, everybody's already done their parts. Now it fits together. And I know that's obvious, but a lot of coaches don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
How frustrating would it be that you're not actually doing that? So
how many O-line coaches
you're giving those practice plans to everybody and you're being on the same page with what you're actually going to accomplish that day. If you're planning on, all right, at the end of practice, we're going to be running buck sweep versus a 4-4. All right, well, they need to be working on that individual. So when you come to the end of practice, you were working on blocking it versus that front or whatever you were doing. So just being on the same page, I think is really, really important. And then the other thing too is I'd say when we get into the season, I never assume somebody's going to run the defense they've shown us on film. Never. Okay. So it's what I love about our offense is throughout the week, I might tell our O-line coach, okay, today block all our plays versus a 4-4. All right, tomorrow you're going to do an under front. Next time you're going to do a 3-4 or 5-2, and then the last day do a bear front. Okay, so now, we never assume we're going to get into a game because we'll see anything and everything. Because you're sitting there watching somebody on film, and everybody's playing a spread. We get the defense of the week. So what I love about our offense is we're always reviewing our rules. Look, guys, I don't care what they come out in. we're going to be ready no matter what they do, and I think that's great, is that we don't run a whole lot of plays, but we have great execution, and they truly understand the rules, and we can get in a game and adjust on the fly and do really, really well with our blocking.
Now, when you get so O-line, I'm assuming you have one coach at least, obviously, but do you have two?
We have two.
Okay, so how do you guys break that up? So what we used to do O-line break up with, I would take, play side.
Yep.
And
sure.
work on down blocking, making sure angles are crisp. And we'd just do trash can review, and then I would lead into drills. And then our other low lineman, he would take the two guards and the scooper.
Yeah, so if you're, for instance, I would say it depends on the play. And I like what you said about the garbage cans. So before practice, when we're in pre-practice, the O-line, we have two groups. We have the younger guys and the older guys, right? Mm-hmm. One of them is going to be on garbage cans, reviewing their blocking rules. And the other group is going to be near the sled or the chutes, working on, driving the sled or firing out low. And then the next day they'll flip. So that way, say you're practicing 4 days a week, 2 days a week, they're going to get review before practice on cans. And the other 2 days, they're going to be driving a sled or, working on the chutes, firing out low. So
I like that.
That's important in pre-practice, is that,
And that's important developing coaches too, right? Now you've got two coaches teaching, working on, now he's getting extra work, coaching technique and reviewing all by himself. You know what I mean? So
yes, if you got
that's a hell of a way to develop coaches too. I never thought about doing something that
rules, and then the other half on sled and shoots, and that's great. Like I said, they'll flip every other day. So one day they're on cans, we're on their blocking rules. The next day they're doing sleds and shoots. And now you were asking about how you divide up if you had two O-line coaches. Mm-hmm. If I was doing belly, all right, play side of belly, I would just have the play side guard and tackle, right, working on, whether they're cross blocking it or they're trying to open that sucker up or whatever different schemes you have. We have, if there's a player in the B gap, we cross block it.
Yeah.
That B gap's open, then we're just going to open that sucker up and base block it. And every once in a while, we'll get somebody A gap and B gap. We just wash that sucker down.
Okay. Well, you guys ever get a hardcore 50 with a 4 and then an outside linebacker just kind of hanging on top of the wing? But we have one that we do. You faced that when I was first starting. We banned it. So anytime.
Yeah. And again, I know people do it that way too, and I don't think there's a wrong way. I would just be careful in not having. Some people have 8 different ways of blocking a play side of belly. I think that's a huge mistake because all of it looks good on paper, but the bottom line is can you execute it?
Sure.
And what I like about when we have down, so say there's an A gap and a B gap threat, and we wash it down. That's our same philosophy as if the DN slants inside. So say we were blocking it versus a 4-4. So they have a nose and a 5 technique DN. Lag spin them. Look, there's a guy in the A gap and the C gap, so we're going to try to open that thing up. But if the guy in the C gap slants inside,
mm-hmm.
What does it become? It becomes A and B gaps, so we're going to wash that thing down. So I think it has some carryover there. Doing things like that. So we try not to do too much, but,
Sure.
Give them just enough to make that play go no matter what. So on belly, we just have the guard and tackle working together, making their calls. And then obviously the center, the backside guard and the backside tackle are all scooping.
Yeah.
They're working on, because they're all pretty much scooping play side and zoning that sucker.
Yeah.
We don't.
That's actually the hardest part about belly. I always taught the backside because I was just better with the zone stuff. I played in the inside zone scheme, so just understanding the double teamed aspect of it. But yeah, that's
we always on the backside. Our backside guard and tackle, one of them always cuts and one of them always climbs the backer. That's our rule. So if the guard makes a me or a you call. So if the backside guard is going to cut, he says me. And now he cuts if he has somebody head up or in his A gap. So I just tell him, look, if there's a 3 technique, the tackle should be able to cut that guy, right? So basically, I tell that guard, if you got somebody head up or inside that A gap, you call me, and you're cutting, and that tackle will climb. But if there's nobody head up you or nobody in that A gap, you call you, and now you're going to the backer. And I'll tell you what, it's great. It works. That's a real simple thing for us. And those D linemen hate it. They hate it, cut. And our centers, obviously, he's stepping play side A to backside linebacker and all just kind of scooping. But between our backside guard and tackle, they're always cutting and climbing. So we always work on that in Indy. because we don't want to cut our own guys when it gets a team.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of work on our cut blocking is backside of it. Now, if we're doing buck sweep though, that's different. I want those two guards together. So now you got the guard is going to pull and kick, and the backside guard is going to pull and wrap. So we'll kind of mix up who's with who depending on the play.
All right. Before I get to some passing stuff, which is going to scare some people, but do you guys run any two tight ends at all or double tight sets?
We didn't. And again, I would just say is like, do you have two tight ends that are dominant?
Yeah.
So again, I wouldn't be adverse to it. Obviously it's a little bit different, from it would alter your passing game and things like that. And maybe your weak side running game, but I wouldn't be adverse to it if we had the two tight ends, but we didn't do it. We were more traditional we ran what people would call 100 and 900. We ran 100, 900 with end over, bring that split end over to the tight end wing side. And then we ran slot formation, so we basically had a tight end dive back on the same side and then a wing back and a split end on the same side.
Okay.
And those are our three main formations.
Now, one of the things you did mention when we were messaging back and forth, and this is not a topic we've really addressed in any of our videos and podcasts yet, but you talked to me a little bit about pass game and kind of how you didn't throw a lot, but you threw effectively. And that's I think that's part of the how do I want to word this? If you can do it real well in this offense, throw effectively, you can make this really dynamic.
Coach, it was. I'll tell you what. Again, we threw. I'm not even kidding you. About 5 times a game. I was hoping it would be about 7-ish. But here's the thing: if you say you throw 7 times a game, if you hit 3 big ones, big ones, right? That's huge. Right? Say you're 3 out of 7 passing for over 100 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns, right? Now you hit 3 passes for over 100 yards. That's over 33 yards a catch. That other defensive coordinator knows, he didn't know when, but he knows you're going to pass at some point. So those guys better stay back. And if they don't, it's a home run.
Yeah.
So again, I think it's something where it's just enough to plant that seed of doubt in those DBs' minds. And when we do pass, it's going to be big, and I'd say set it up. Pass when you want to pass. Don't pass. 3rd and long, our kids got frustrated with me because they watch the NFL and they expect 3rd and long, we're going to throw it deep. That's the last time I want to pass. 3rd and long, we're going to run trap.
Yes.
Count, crisscross, something like that. And you know what? Belly sweep. We hit it a lot of times.
Yeah.
We get first downs on 3rd and long running that stuff. We wanted to pass 1st and 10, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, because that's when it's going to work. And call it because you're not guessing. When you're running a play, stare at those DBs, and if they come flying up, that's when you want to hit it. And something, I'll tell you what, we pass to our tight end a lot, deep, and I can show you some on film here. Something that I really love is, I got this from Jim McKee, who's head coach at Scott County High School.
We're going to talk to Jim here in about 2.5 weeks. So
he's awesome, great guy. I'll tell you what, he's had 14 years in a row of 10 or more wins. They've been to state 4 times. They're the only non-Louisville school to win state in the last, I don't know how long in that largest class. It's always Trinity, St. X, or Male. And that guy, I've learned more from him than any wing T coach ever. And he's phenomenal. Here's what he taught me about throwing to your tight end. When he blocks with his tight end, 90% of the time, you'd think a tight end on a running play would block a D lineman or a linebacker. He runs his tight end at the safety on almost every running play. Tight end goes at the safety, goes at the safety, goes at the safety. Well, that safety, every time you run the ball, sees the tight end coming at him.
Yeah, that's actually,
You finally play action, and the tight end's running to safety, runs right by him for a touchdown. And that was as big a part of our passing offense as anything, is you're setting it up. Now, if I'm a well-coached defensive back, if every time they run, the tight end blocks a D end or a linebacker, I'm going to know, all right, every time that tight end blocks a D end or a linebacker, come up because it's a run. And when he runs by him, it's a pass. Well, Jim McKee is such a genius. He runs his tight end to safety every time.
See,
Not every time, but almost every time. And it sets up these home runs where, I mean, I'm not even kidding you. I've seen his film. I saw our film this year. We had our tight end so wide open. It wasn't a matter of if he was going to be open. It was he going to catch it? It was that laughable.
I mean, I'll never forget. I mean, this is kind of the difference between. That's kind of almost like a triple option preparation. That's what bothers me is you got that wing back always good block to safety for alley players, and after a while they kind of hit that little seam. You know what I mean? And that always in the back of my mind. How hard is that to implement that your tight end goes to the safety in terms of like maybe like a buck sweep power?
No, so again, I would say that's probably the one play where I wouldn't send him to the safety. Okay. Buck sweep, I would not send him to safe. So buck sweep, again, it depends whether you want to inside release a 7 technique or not.
Yeah.
We just kind of keep it simple, told him to block the first player inside. So if there was a 7 technique or a CFDN, we had him lock on. Our tight end was actually a really good blocker, so we actually had him take him. Or, he would go to linebacker, right? Yeah. But almost every other play, if we're running belly or belly sweep, or almost every play that we ran, we were sending tight end to safety. Trap, he was more linebacker-ish to safety. He was going to the level. But I'm saying he was pretty much letting the DN go on every play except buck sweep, maybe blocking inside on a C-gap guy or a 4 technique that was head up.
And I'll tell you what, there's a school in the Dayton area. It's called Bellbrook High School. And they've been win team for about 5 or 6 years since. And I think the one thing that makes them so dangerous is I was just looking at his stats a couple of days ago. This quarterback completed like 65% of his passes, and he threw for like 13 touchdowns, and he only played 7 games this year.
Yeah.
And the one thing is, and I think a lot of win teams missed this boat. How do you design your passing game? I think the one thing that may be really tough to him defend is his run game and pass game look identical.
They better. And
how do you go about designing that?
That play action has got to look alike. Here's something else. I'm going to keep referring back to Jim McKee because he's a genius and he's as good as anybody. Anytime you're running play action, the play side of the offensive line better fire out low. Mm-hmm. That you're trying to make it look like a run. So I would obviously the faking in the backfield better be great. Say you're running, some type of belly play action pass to your right. All right, well, first of all, the play action in the backfield better be great. But if you're faking a belly to the right guard and the right tackle need to fire out low. Now, they can't go running 10 yards down the field, but they need to fire out low and sell it. Now, the backside of the offensive line, they can step and hinge or step up because you're not faking it to that side. So I would just say that, super important, great fake in the backfield. Make sure you're setting it up. Pass when you want to pass in a situation where they think you can run, set it up, and then make sure that play side of the offensive line fires out low and really, really sells it. And then, like you said, make sure that the play action pass looks as close to some type of run as you got. So that way you're setting up that secondary to come running up.
That's actually good because I've seen a few win T teams. That's like my nitpicking is their only really pass game is maybe a little bit of belly pass or waggle. Yeah. But like when I get Bellbrook, I mean, it's hard for me to get mad at my kids when everything from DB wise, wide receiver, everything looks the same. Yeah. Like they scored 3. They scored on a slant wheel concept into the boundary.
Yeah.
And they motioned across, and it was just same thing they've kind of ran all game.
Yeah.
And I got released out too, and everything looked the same. His first 2 steps, everything looked the same, and then all of a sudden he bowed out for a wheel.
Well, maybe it's a dive back's been blocking a linebacker, and he's blocking a linebacker. He's blocking a linebacker. Now he's got to run full speed right at that linebacker and then just run right by him. But it's got to look something similar to what you've been doing. And then the other thing, too, is I'll tell you this. One of the best things we do, and again, we got it from Jim McKee, is one-on-one passing to your split end. Now, intelligent one-on-one passing to your split end, here's what I love about it. If the corner's one-on-one out there, if he's one-on-one, right, and hopefully you got a dude out there, okay, what are they giving you? If that corner's 7 to 10 yards off, bailing out of there pretty quick, we ran a now screen. I mean, our quarterback, as quick as he could, was throwing as fast as he could get the ball to the split, and the split end literally inside foot up, took one step with his outside foot and showed the quarterback his numbers. Caught the ball. If you make one guy miss, you're gone. Well, here's what the beauty of that. You'll never get sacked. The ball will never be intercepted. The quarterback does not have to make a read because you're telling him who to throw to, right? It gets your quarterback's confidence up. You should complete that pass. I tell him, look, we're going to miss it every once in a while, but that ball should be a 95% completion rate. And if your guy makes somebody miss, he's gone. Now, the other thing we did was if it was one-on-one and we felt our receiver was better than the corner or the guy was pressed, we'd outside release and run a fade, right? So if they're pressed up and you outside release, that corner's got to turn his back on the ball. So I would explain to our kids, like, look, this is like getting a rebound in basketball where you see the ball come off the rim and the corner doesn't. If you outside release him, that corner has to man turn and turn his back on the quarterback. If he makes a nice throw high to the outside, we can fade away from him. And we worked on that all the time, was now and fade. And being able to intelligently call it in the game, it was like, look, up the corner's one-on-one and he's 10 yards off. Let's throw some nows. There was one game we threw, I want to say 10 nows this year, and we thought of it like a run. We were going to complete it every time, and our kid was going to get at a minimum 5 to 10 yards. If he made the guy miss, he was gone. And then same thing with fade. We threw fade a lot. Liked it in the red zone too because you're probably going to get man-to-man. So we just worked on throwing that ball at that back pylon. Now, when you throw fade in the red zone, you got to make sure you're doing it one step, or that guy might run out the back. So versus if we're throwing fade in the regular part of the field, we're going to three-step it. But if we're throwing fade, in the red zone, we're going to one-step thing. And again, no read for the quarterback, no risk of sack, probably not a risk of interception, especially on a now.
Yeah.
If you throw an interception on fade, right, it's like a punt. You throw it deep. Yeah. So, it's not the worst in the world. So I really like that quick game to the split end, but calling it intelligently based on how far the leverage of the corner was and things like that and how good your split end was.
It's actually, we did something similar with the press and fade. We did a little inter-squad scrimmage, like right before the season started. And it's happened 2 times in a row before I just stopped being dumb. And I press 2 because they run a jet sweep to the split end. So put my corner in press, let them sit right there for jet sweep. Because I know that wide receiver, they're going to want to block. I get him in 3rd and 12. I said, I might as well. Because there's a good receiver out there. I said, I'll bracket him. It was kind of my thought process. Well, if they run a slant, it gives my time for my inside linebacker to scoop underneath. And if they run a fade, I have an athletic enough safety to get over top. And 3rd and 8, 3 times in a row, they get it.
My receiver, I'm going to run for 700 yards on you, so that'd be great.
I know. I'm weird. But jet sweep is fine. Buck sweep's a whole different ballgame, man. You can't play too high against buck sweep.
That's because I think if I get you worrying about double teaming a split end, that's great. And you know what? I'm not going to throw out there. So if you want to sit there and play cover 2 and have a corner way out wide, I'm going to tell my receiver to split to the sideline and then take your safety and corner way out of there. And we'll just have that receiver block out on your corner and cut up into that alley and never pass the ball once all game.
Well, that's honestly, man, I always think, and someone said, I think split end can sometimes be the most undervalued guy.
Well, you need one. That's another thing about the wing, too. You need one.
And if he can get it done, and not to make the defense stress, right?
One guy. I'm not relying on finding 4 like a spread team. But you can find one receiver. That's going to,
Oh, yeah. And like I said, they don't have to be, like, if they're not speed burners, they're good route runners. That good enough. Like, we have a junior receiver who's not a burner, but, he was our starting JV receiver this year because he was our best route runner and had the best hands of all those kids.
Our receiver played both ways. He was a corner, never came out the field on defense, was on special teams all the time. And what I taught him, which I thought was almost laughable, was I always taught him, look, does your block matter? If we're running buck sweep into the boundary and you're split out to the field, I told him to fake a now route. I said, take one step, show your quarterback the numbers, and just stand there because we're not running towards you. So that kind of let him, get some gas in his gas tank. Now, guess what, buddy? If it's end over buck sweep and we're coming your way, you better block.
Yeah.
It was kind of like intelligently taking a play off. Why do I want the kid to go, block full speed when his block has no impact on the play?
Sure.
I kind of taught him. Or I'd say, look, buddy, if you're dead tired, we'll get a sub in there for you so you can get rest. Because, we're probably going to pass 5 times a game anyway. So,
Well, I think the element of, if you're running that now screen so well, think about the corner perspective. He's worried about not making that one-on-one tackle. You bust a buck sweep, that's your touchdown saver. You take out a pursuit.
yeah, for
He's
sure.
so worried about, you know what I mean? He's so worried about if you get burnt on a 15-yard on a one-on-one. The problem is you're one-on-one in cover 3 and you kind of bail. If you miss that tackle and cause a huge gain touchdown,
Come on.
no, there's no hiding, man. You missed a tackle, it's
And
embarrassing.
now you're worried about that, so you
Yeah.
come up a little bit, and now you run a fade right by you. Now you're going, man, I don't know if I should come up or stay back. Or
And now you take him away from the run game, and you take him away from. I mean, that's actually one of that now screen. I've never. I like
better
it.
than the hitch, I just say, because you get the ball out quicker. You really don't let that outside linebacker get out there. I love it. It's so easy. Our completion percentage on it was great. There was one 6 DN we went against that darn near tipped one. So for the rest of the game, we had to cut him. That was pretty much the only adjustment we had to make all year on now. Was we had a big, tall kid, so we just told the tackle to cut him, which we like, and then that solved that problem. All right, this is actually Scott County in Kentucky. So you guys see the corner out here, yeah?
Yeah.
One-on-one, no help. You count the numbers, right? I mean, they got everybody in the box and one guy out there, and he's playing really far off. So here's the now. Right now, just throw it, make a guy miss. It's an easy completion. I'll show you. I'll run through a couple. So again, know why you're calling it and when to call it. Again, everybody's in the box. You're one-on-one, and the corner's really far off. You can see I'm just as fast as you can. Throw it. Boom, shake him, make him miss. And I mean, it's so easy. You're getting completion, immediately. It's so simple, but know why you're calling. Again, everybody, you count the numbers. There's your 10. He's playing off.
What defense?
So simple. Just throw it right now. Look at how far, he catches the ball. Look at how this guy is 12 yards away from him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like stealing candy from a baby. You're going to get 5 or 10 yards every play. Again, look at how far off he is, right? This is all Scott County. They're in Kentucky. Throw it out there. I mean, and now you're just one-on-one. Make a miss. They're getting 10 yards, and they actually made the tackle. Yeah, again, you can see it again. Everybody's in the box, and this guy's 10 yards off. That's when it's good. So know why you're calling it. Yeah, and again, that move, don't make a bunch of moves out there. Make a quick, decisive move.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's again now. 10 guys in the box. You're one-on-one and the corner's off. This is when you want to call now. Make a miss. Preferably to the outside, away from the pursuit that's coming. Okay. So again, you can see it again. 10 guys in the box, one-on-one. That guy's really far off. Just chuck it. Make him miss, hopefully. But even if you don't, they made the tackle. But I mean, you go back and look, they're getting like 10 yards. This is our team. Okay, but again, same thing. Yeah, you can see right here. It's actually 3rd and 9, but you can't even see the corner in the picture. Okay, we actually wound up getting, I think, a touchdown on this. Now look, there's one guy, just make him miss. Now you run up the side. That was 3rd and 9, and we just threw an easy now route, and actually, that kid made somebody miss. Just breaks the tackle, and we wound up scoring a touchdown on 3rd and 9, just because they were probably anticipating a fade. Okay, so again, you can't really see the corner in that picture, but again, same thing. I can't even see. There's nowhere. The corner's nowhere to be found. Okay, just get it, chuck it as fast as you can, make a miss. So again, good completion percentage, chance for a big play. But again, know why you're calling the play. Don't just throw darts to the dartboard, right? All right, so here we go, fade. Now here's the opposite, right? One-on-one, press corner. Throw the ball. This guy's got an outside release. And if you look at the corner, right, it's like a rebound in basketball where the receiver sees the ball. Outside release, and now you put that in that position. Now that receiver's going to look back for the ball. This guy's got his back to the play. Just throw it up high to the outside. You see this position here. He sees the ball. Corner doesn't. Know why you're calling the play.
Yeah.
Don't call it at random. Again, one-on-one. Now, how do you know it's man-to-man? Because of his eyes. This guy's looking at that receiver. Outside, release him. Throw it high into the outside. Receiver sees the ball. Corner doesn't. That's simple. It's logical. Same thing. Anytime we see this one-on-one press, it's man-to-man. Outside release. And right now, it's logical. This guy can't see the ball thrown. Throw that ball high in the outside. Now, we haven't gotten as good as the NFL with that back shoulder throw and all that stuff where you do that Aaron Rodgers stuff. But again, we're calling it because we're one-on-one and that guy's come up nice and close. Outside release, throw it high into the outside, away from that guy. Okay, so that's something. Now let me show you some of the stuff where the tight end is coming up the field. I mean, just uncovered. Let's show you a couple of those here. All right, so here we go. Motion across. They're actually motioning across. This is Scott County. Motion across. They're faking tackle, trap, counter. And that tight end's just running right up the field. Untouched. I mean, just a beautiful play. And what I love about this is you're getting the defense potentially looking at three things to open up your pass. One, you're getting him to look at the motion, right? This wing is motioning across. Then you're faking 1, 2. So you're getting them to look at three different things, and that tight end's just running by him. So your tight end on the post is your number one look, and then your check down is going to be a curl to that split end. So here we go. You're getting them to look at motion. You're faking tackle, trap. 1, 2. Look, tight end 1. That tight end post is open. I mean, you can see him. I mean, Scott County, they're so good. I mean, they get pass plays with that tight end. Nobody's even looking at him. Fake the tackle, trap. Look for the tight end, post 1. And again, the quarterback's read. If that tight end's behind everybody, you're throwing it. If not, check it down to that curl. This one's laughable. I mean, you can tell before the play, both DBs are so worried about this motion. Fake tackle, trap. Look at the tight end on this one.
Oh my God.
I'm just, it's hilarious how many times Scott County, here it is again. Motion across, fake the tackle, trap, counter. Look for the tight end post. I mean, it's there. If not, again, it was there, but look at the curl too. Fake the tackle, trap. If you don't like the post, you tell me he couldn't have hit that too.
Yeah.
That corner was a deep guy. You could have hit the curl too. So again, he's looking touchdown, checking down to that first down. Fake motion across, fake tackle, trap. Look tight end first. If he's behind that guy, throw it. Right. So I mean, that's something that great play that we got from Jim McKee. Tight end again. If he's behind him, wide open. I mean, just I can't tell you how many times they get this play to work. See it again. Motion across. Fake the tackle, trap. Look for the tight end post. There it is again. I mean, it's unbelievable how many times this play's been money for Jim McKee over the years. And again, if that tight end ain't there, check it down to the curl. Boom. So, you can see it. They're hitting both. It's not just that tight end on the post. There's tons of time where he hits the curl as well. But, I mean, you're looking for that tight end, obviously, first. But, again, here's us running it. We stole it from Jim McKee. Motion across, fake the tackle, trap. Look for that tight end. You can see us, too. It's working for us. I mean, that's one of their best plays. I'll show you another awesome play action that they get. That tight end open is out of their slot formation. They fake belly. Okay, so I'll show you the belly first, then I'll show you the play action off it. So here's slot formation, belly. Obviously, that we're running belly to the tight end. So that dive back's leading through. We're giving it to the fullback on belly, and then this wing is coming around faking belly sweep. So here's our belly to the tight end out of slot formation. So give, and then fake to that wing. So there's our belly, right? It's just running that. Here it is again, belly to the tight end. That wing's coming around, right? Then off of that, you got your belly sweep out of that same look. So now you're faking the belly, giving to the wing, fake belly, give to the wing, right?
Nice.
So you got that look, and it all looks the same. Here it is again. Fake belly, give to the wing. So there's your belly sweep. Okay. And now off of that, you got your pass. So here it is. So now here's the route. The tight end's going to run almost at that safety, and he's running deep to the corner. Your dive back's going to run through there just like he did on belly at that inside linebacker, looking like he's going to lead block on him, and he's running the out cut. Everything else looks the same. You're still faking belly. That wing is still going to come around looking like he's belly sweep, and he's going to block. But it all looks like belly and belly sweep. So here we go. So again, he's going to fake belly, and that tight end's running a corner out, and the dive back's running a 5-yard out. So fake belly, he's looking for that tight end. I mean, look at that. It's hilarious how open that they'll get this stuff. So here it is again. Here they're actually going to hit the dive back. So fake belly, that wing's coming around looking like belly sweep. You got the tight end or that dive back. Now he hits the dive back on the 5-yard out, and he scores. We tell that tight end, if we actually throw to the dive back, you got to become a blocker now. You know. So here's us. This is us running it. Big belly, that wing's coming around. Look for the tight end first. There he is. Just wide open. He just backpedals in the end zone. You can see it from this view. Big belly, that wing's coming around. He's looking tight end first. And again, you can kind of see we had our dive back too. If we wanted to throw to him, he was open.
Oh, yeah.
Could have hit either guy. Here's them against Louisville Male years ago in the playoffs, hitting it for a big play. I mean, look at that tight end. Just wide open. And again, you can run, what's beautiful is you can run the same thing the other way. I actually like it better this way, probably just because if you look at the quarterback's shoulders when he comes out of the fake,
Yeah.
slow-mo, he's already more naturally set up to throw if he's right-handed. So I kind of like it better this way. If you look, when he fakes belly there, see how his shoulders are already set to throw?
Yeah.
If he's right-handed, he kind of comes out of there a little bit in a better position to throw. But you can see same play. Tight end's running the corner. Dive back's running that out. And it's just so easy. And again, it looks like belly or belly sweep. So fake the belly. You got your tight end on the corner, your dive back on the out. It's just over and over. Just absolutely the tight end is just wide open. And if not, that dive back's a great look too. Look at the tight end. But you can't run it a lot. And when you do run it, it better be a situation where they're expecting run.
Yeah.
You know, and you still got that check down to the dive back. So again, but it's a series that clearly looks. Here's us running it. Okay, I didn't like our dive back. He kind of stopped. I think I knew our tight end was going to score or something, so we just shut his route down. See how you even seen him. He points. If you keep looking at our dive back, he actually points like to the tight end for us to throw to him. But look at our tight end here.
Yeah, you can't get more open than that, Coach.
No, and it's over and over and over. Here's Scott County again running it. Look at that. I mean, it's just beautiful. Jim McKee was nice enough. He actually shared all the film of his team going back like 10 years.
Jeez.
So over that COVID break, I'm not even kidding. I watched every game of Scott County going back 10 years, every snap of every game, probably at least 4 times. Kind of went through and said, all right, what plays were money for them over and over and over? Yeah. And we incorporated it, and that was our offense. And I call him and text him almost every day and bother the heck out of him. So you guys got a good one coming on here in a couple weeks with
yeah, we're going to see him right after Christmas. Just for anybody wondering, Coach Derry had to pop out real quick. He had a small family emergency that hopefully will be fine, but he had to sneak out real quick. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate you coming on, Coach. I know you got to get running here in a minute.
Sure.
Real quick, Coach will be back on later to do a clinic for the channel on kind of formations, motions, flipping line. He's going to talk about some of that. I mean, me and him are working out the details of that, of when he'll be on. Probably get him on to film it after Christmas break. If anybody wants to reach out to Coach, I'll put his Twitter in the bio, as well as the video. So if you want to follow him, reach out to him. Coach, we'll get back to you.
Without a doubt.
I appreciate it, Coach. Congratulations again on your successful season. And that is another episode of the Gap Down Backer podcast.